Take a good look, y'all. This is what freedom looks like. That's right, you guys. I am free. And I was gonna do a whole dancing video for you guys, but you know what? It's a lot of work moving around in monk clothes. And I decided that if this is my outfit for the Hmong New Year, I cannot use the restroom at all because honestly, like there's sequins falling everywhere, like because of all the little sequins in my dress. And this is just the front. Don't worry, I'm wearing shorts underneath. Oh my gosh, but this is so cute. It is such a cute outfit, you guys. However, I don't know. Like, I thought the long dress, because it's cold in Minnesota when we have the Hmong New Year. But, you know, I have two different shorter white dresses. That is more the traditional one. And, you know, I can't really commit yet. We'll see. But because I am a cool winter, I look really good in black. Oh yeah, we were talking about my freedom. Okay, you guys. I have completed my punishments where I had to raise at least 10 students, and then I had to do 3 heavy ceremonies. So your girl is free. You know, I be living the good life now. But you know, speaking of living the good life, okay, so I gotta do my intro. Welcome back, you guys. I'm Tassie with Shaman Memoirs, and legit, you guys know your girl was being punished because I ran away for 10 years from not doing Nang, and I re-raised my shrine. Fast forward to last July? Was it June? When was that ceremony? Was it in July or June? I had to go and look at my calendar. It was end of July. So end of July, I actually became free. Okay, so I finally did my 10 students that I had to do. And then I had to go and do 3 heavy ceremonies, which I did do all my curse ceremonies. Your girl is good. I did a konza, and I was like, ooh, is this part of my freedom? It did not count, okay? I was pretty miffed about that one because, you know, I had to put in a lot of work, and they were like, this one does not count. So, you know, apparently it's just curse ceremonies. I remember last year when the first curse ceremony came, and I was like, can we please not do these back to back? Can I get like a few months in between? And it's funny because I did get a few months in between each curse ceremony. But anyways, I am free. I am done. And that ceremony, I went into it not realizing how much work it was going to be for me. Because then once I went into it, it was much heavier than I was anticipating. Because it wasn't like, I don't know what I was thinking. I think because it was just for one individual, whereas other curse ceremonies that I did, it was more, you know, like trying to kill you kind of curses, and the whole family was involved, you know. So this one was just one individual. So I was like, you know, it's gonna be Gucci. I'm okay. And no, like we had to drive all the way down to La Crosse for it. And I actually had a student, her Huaneng told her that I was doing a heavy ceremony. So she knew about it. So she messaged me to see if it was true. And it was true. So she ended up flying from California down here to Minnesota. And literally her and her husband came. And, you know, in California, they are 2 hours behind us. And I travel a lot usually for Nang. So they were literally complaining the whole time to me. They were like, how do you do it? Like, how do you travel and then go and do ceremonies, especially when you did 3 back to back? And honestly, for me, I will have to say that I love to travel. So traveling for me, it's like I get excited. It's not like very as exhausting. When I get back though, I tend to get more exhausted. But, you know, going on the trip, exploring on the trip, and then I come back. So usually I need like a mini vacation before I go back into the groove of things. However, they were like, because we had to go down to La Crosse, and y'all know how I feel about road trips. I absolutely hate them. So before that client even came into my office, I remember turning to look at my assistant, Molly, who she was working that night. And I legit just said to her, okay, I'm not going to take on any more ceremonies the rest of the year. You know, I'm going to focus just on my students. And then in comes my client with the curse ceremony. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to La Crosse. So La Crosse, for all of you guys, it's about 2 hours away from the Twin Cities. And I was born and raised there. And so that was the first time back in over 20 years since I've been over, like maybe, how old was I the last time I was down there? I was probably like 21, 20 was the last time I was in La Crosse. And I'm about to turn 39, you guys. So it was a long time ago. And I remember we did the drive down there. We got up at 5 in the morning. Well, technically I got up at 4. And then we hit the road at 5 a.m. So then my students, they flew in the night before. And then at 5 a.m., which is 3 a.m. in their body, but it's 5 a.m. here because we're 2 hours ahead. Then they had to do the drive down to La Crosse to meet us. And then I did the ceremony, and afterwards, he was like, her husband was thanking me because I only ordain for an hour and a half, 2 tops. Usually, if it's a lot of stuff, a lot of people, I'm doing 2 hours. Or else, no, it's like hour and a half-ish, I'm done ordaining, right? He was like, I just want to say thank you for not ordaining for 5 to 7 hours. You are welcome, okay? To all my clients I've had, to all of my students, you are welcome. Now, I do definitely have to attribute a lot of it to my who shows as well, because they do a lot of work working with the clients. Like, okay, this is the part where she needs this. This is the part where she needs that. And are the chickens ready from the hoopli? Is this and that ready? So they help move the family along very well. It's like a well-oiled machine at this point in time. And so we kind of get everything gathered and ready. Like they know that, okay, we need to fikwa at this time and we need these things at this time. So, you know, the clients are really well informed during the ceremony what is actually needed. Anyways, so here I am in the curse ceremony. And I remember it's not that it was a long ceremony. It was a heavy ceremony. It was very heavy. And there was a lot of people there at the ceremony. And I remember I was at the end. I was at the end of the ceremony. I was almost done. All of a sudden, I felt this man standing behind me. Like, he was tall and he was very close to me. And you know, I'm ordaining and I can feel this person. And I'm thinking to myself, why would a client be standing that close to me while I'm ordaining right behind me? And I was thinking to myself, well, there's no way my husho would allow somebody to stand that close to me. You know, because I was like, you know, this was not a scene where I was jumping or anything where people needed to be there to catch me. And so I was thinking to myself, okay, like, you know, GJ, who was my husho, she wouldn't let somebody stand that close to me. So then I was like, I'm going to strike this thing with lightning. So then I struck it with lightning. It didn't move. Like, that thing was still there. So then I struck myself with lightning because I'm like, okay, what if it's on me now? So I struck myself with lightning. It was still there. And all of a sudden, my Huaneng tells me to focus. And now we're done traveling and we come across this scene where I'm at a cliff and it's nighttime. I'm at a cliff and there's water in the background. But on the cliff is a tower. And it looks like a European tower. Because it didn't look pagoda-like, like where it was like Asian type of architecture. It literally looked like a stone medieval type of tower. And I'm standing there and it's pitch black where we're at. And I'm like, great. I need to go in and it's probably a trap. It's probably haunted. And so my spirit guides tell me I need to go into this tower. So I enter the tower and the tower is empty except for a pedestal in the center. And lo and behold, Tassie's infamous book. There was a book in the center on top of the pedestal. And I'm like, great, I'm not going to be able to read this, but whatever. Let's just humor the spirit world. So we open up the book and I'm looking at the book and all of a sudden this knowledge hits me. There's a light at the top of this tower and I need to turn the tower light on. So I tell my spirit guides to go and turn on the lights. And so the light turns on and all of a sudden another knowledge hits me where I'm like, there's a lot of towers like all along this world that I'm at. And so I tell my spirit guides, you guys need to go and turn on all the tower lights. And then now the scene switches and I am outside. I'm leaving the tower behind me, and I'm walking to the edge of the cliff to see the water. And as I'm walking out to see the water, like ding, 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 all of these tower lights turn on around me, and I can see the shoreline, and it goes on forever. And then I just look up into the sky, and it's pitch black, where it's too black. It looked like something's there. So then I fly out. Yes, that's right. I'm just flying. I fly off of the cliff into the universe, and I see all of these worlds like around this black mass. And when the last tower in all the worlds have turned on, there is a massive black dragon. And now my spirit guides told me I'm free. And so this black dragon was being imprisoned. And that man that I felt behind me was him. He was one of my main guys. So, this is what freedom looks like, you guys. Man, like, knowing that I'm no longer punished, there was a time where I was like, is this what Constantine feels like? Like, you're trying to do all these good deeds just to try to get into heaven. But it just felt so good to me. Like, I am finally free. I'm free of my punishments. Because, I felt like I was trapped, like, literally. Like, I was trapped, and I had to do this, or else I was going to be dealt with even more punishment if I don't. And I felt like I didn't have that freedom. And for me, it's like I'm craving this freedom. Even though, here in this plane of existence, I have my freedom-ish. It's kind of like, it's this feeling of like, you're not truly free spiritually. So now I am finally free to do what I want. Okay. I could close my door. I gotta finish all my students. Yeah. So now I am finally done, and it all coincided. Fast forward the next month, we're in August, and yo girl is certified. So I am now Reiki certified. Okay, my first one. Okay, there's 3. So it was really funny how this all came out to be. So if you guys recall in one of my podcasts, I actually had services done, like a Shai for Hmong people, how we actually go and seek out a shaman to look into our future, etc. And I was talking to the Korean shaman, and she actually brought it up. Not Reiki specifically, but it was funny because then I was talking to her about my future and like my careers and like Shaman Memoirs, and she basically confirmed everything I knew. Which was really reaffirming. It's just that reassurance, right? However, she said to me that I am essentially a fruit that is almost ripe, but you don't want to pick a fruit before it's ripe, right? So, and then because for Korean shamans, they use they use flags. They pull out flags based off of what their spirits are answering. And she pulled out a white flag. And when she pulled out the white flag, my spirit guides, they showed me Nancy Zhang. So I am getting Reiki certified through Honobono, Nancy Zhang as the teacher. And literally they said to me, she said to me that there is one last thing that I have to accomplish. And it was learning Reiki. So I am now going through my Reiki courses. By the time you guys see this video, because girl's kind of slow with her editing. Like right now, I don't know, I might get this out for you guys. It's like the 7th of September. My second certification is coming up next week. So I will be doing that. And then I will go into my master level. And then I will be offering Reiki services at Shaman Memoirs. In case anybody's wondering, Reiki versus Oneng, right? I frequently recommend Reiki, especially a lot of emotional trauma. And even if it's like some physical pains, where some people can go and seek out Reiki services for healing, because a lot of people, even though, for a lot of Hmong families who are more traditional, you have the support and when I say support, it's more than finances. It's you have the people to come to help you for your ceremonies. You have the space. Those things are a luxury for a lot of people. A lot of people cannot afford those type of resources because if you're doing ceremonies, it's essentially a big party you're throwing, because then you have to feed everybody, and that's a lot of money when it comes to the food you have to consider, and then you need a space. So if you live in an apartment and it's a studio or it's a 1-bedroom, you can't really throw a big ceremony to have everybody come to help on that day. And then, of course, there's the noise complaints. So there's a lot of restrictions that for some people who don't have those luxuries and they're not set up in life like that, it's harder for them to be able to have a ceremony done for them. So in those scenarios where clients, one, they don't know what a ceremony is, they're not really confident about going through that because it is a huge financial investment going into it, right? And so I recommend for them Reiki then. I do recommend Reiki to help heal them. Sometimes it may take a couple of sessions, and some people go and get Reiki done like how people go and get massages, or their nails done. So Reiki is definitely, I'll have to admit, you guys, for years, my spirit guides would not allow me to learn anything outside of what they're teaching me. And so now, with my newfound freedom, enters in Reiki. And man, I was really enjoying, after the filming of my podcasts and everything, which we are starting up again next month, I was like, wow, I got my freedom. We're not doing podcasts every weekend or on the weekdays. Literally, I'm getting my little bit of break so I can actually enjoy summer. And then my spirit guides decide to throw on me, no, you need to go and start making your beads. So thank you to everybody for your guys' support as well, of course. But, my spirit guides, they were expressing to me that in this life, when you are gifted with a lot, you are not meant to hoard it and live under a rock. That is what I would like, okay? So literally, they were like, when you have so much, you need to be able to give back to others, right? And so through doing my kakong or doing a neng with my beads that I've been offering through shamanmemoirs.com, having all of this is being able to give a part of it and a part of me for everybody else, really. It's because these kind of things are very accessible to me, and I'm always very conscious and very aware that this is a privilege. A lot of people do not have access to these things, My family, anytime they need anything, anytime they have a bad dream, anytime they have a random life question, they don't have to wait the month long that everybody else does to book a session with me. They just text me. And of course, because they are my family and they help me out a lot, I want to help them a lot too. And so I am very well aware though, from all learning everything I have with my clients this past year and a half here, it's only been a year and a couple months. Anyways, I feel like it's been a long time, y'all. Anyways, really quick, what I was trying to say though is that sometimes when I see clients, I realize they genuinely just need somebody who cares. Somebody who can really just be there to help guide them and to really just help them. So, for example, sometimes I take liberties with my spirit guides, when I have a client and I know they could never have a ceremony done. They just don't have that support. And when I go and I look and their life is just such in shambles with the spirit world, I like to, just blow a little wind, like I open up the heavens so that the heavens can see. Because usually when you're in this darkness, there's a lot of cloud. Imagine a cloudy, dark, stormy day. You get no reprieve. You get no sunlight coming through. And the heavens aren't seeing it. So, sometimes I poke a few holes into the sky, literally, just to open it. So that way it can give them a bit of relief. It's just something small that I can do. And I am always telling the client if this is what I'm doing though. I just let them know, like those kind of things are very simple for me, right? And I know that my spirit guides, they will stop me when they're like, no, you're doing too much and you're not supposed to. But I do just a little, just a little. Because sometimes people just need that little bit of oomph and a little bit of help, right? And that's why so many clients who come to see me, they feel great afterwards. They always feel great afterwards. And, and I feel so terrible when I have to give bad news. But, okay, like here's the kicker, right? A lot of people, Tassie tangents, okay, in case y'all forget they exist. Okay. Sometimes people are like, oh, how come, psychics or shamans can't give me the Powerball numbers? Do you go to the doctor for the Powerball numbers, right? At the end of the day, our source of powers, you guys, it comes from being a healer, okay? So a lot of times when I'm looking into clients, I'm seeing a lot of bad things. Why am I seeing a lot of bad things? It's because I'm a healer, okay? I don't need to see when you win the Powerball, okay? I need to see when you don't and your spirit has gone down because you gambled too much. Because then my job is to go pick up that spirit, okay? So there is a huge variation here that I think sometimes people are misinformed or they're viewing it differently, okay? We as shamans are meant to help heal, And so a lot of times when I do see people and I do sense and feel their energy and any entities that they brought along with them on their journey, if whatever little bit I can do for you that will help you, because you came and sought me out because you needed help, okay? People don't seek out shamans because they're living a good life, okay? But I will say this, though. A lot of wealthy people do, actually. A lot of them, they look for it to ensure their future, okay? They ensure spiritually, and this is something that I always say too, like spirituality, sometimes it is a luxury, okay? Because when you are just suffering, that's usually the last thing you're thinking of because you don't have time to think about yourself in that sense, like your own spiritual well-being. You're thinking of the problem right in front of you. Okay, I'm getting off of my high horse. I digress. Now, my family and I, we are planning another cruise for next year, so I'm super excited. And I feel like it is the full 360. It is that full circle moment, where I went on the cruise the last time, and during the cruise, I had no idea I was going to be raising my shrine again. And I remember being around all of the Caribbean dragons, that feeling. And the whole time, it was like they knew. They knew I was going to have to do it, but they couldn't tell me. So it was this familiarity, this feeling of just remembering all that power and how I walked away from it all. But no, I am super excited because we're going on the cruise for my 40th birthday. Your girl is turning 40 years old, and I'm also very excited because in a couple weeks actually, I am turning 39. So I am going to go to Diane's place. I told my family I only go to Diane's place for my birthday. And I want this perfume. Okay, it's called, I don't know how to pronounce the brand. It's called Kylian Paris. But this summer, you guys, my go-to fragrance this summer has been the Gourmand Marshmallow. Okay, yes, I already own the Kayali Yum. It's the marshmallow one. I already own that one. However, I discovered one that smells even better than the Kayali, and that is the Kylian Princess version. And it's so expensive. But yeah, I told my family those are the only two things I want for my birthday. However, I will take variations of a home-cooked meal or another restaurant. I am quite simple, you guys. I just love food. And you know what, you guys? I think my Hushas will thank me. Okay, like I absolutely am so thankful of anybody who cooks me food, honestly. And during my year of traveling here, everyone has been making me kapwan. I think it's because everyone knows my favorite dish to eat is kapwan. However, that's all I've been eating. I literally went out of town once, and I was visiting two different people during the same trip, and all of them all make kapwan. So I'm just gonna let you guys know. I also love fakao. All right, fakao and it is like dangerous, okay? But I love kapwan, fakao, pad thai. I love a lot of Vietnamese, Thai types of dishes. I'm not a huge fan of Chinese food. I think because for me, it tends to be very greasy, and I like the more fragrant type of dishes. Granted, don't get me wrong, kapwan and curry in general is pretty greasy. But, y'all, I also forgot, okay? For my birthday as well this year, for just me and my boyfriend, we're going to be eating at Kaluna's. And y'all, I love Kaluna's, okay? The owner of Kaluna also owns Gai Noi. I'm not a big fan of Gai Noi. The only thing I really like at Gai Noi is their habanero wings. Super spicy, phenomenal. Now, Kaluna though. Kaluna is the place to go if you guys have not been to Kaluna. My all-time favorite restaurant, it is Bagu Sushi in Thai. They are Hmong owned. And then, I don't know, man. Diane's place and Bagu, they're kind of like married in my mind. And I love them both equally. I love Diane's place, but I prefer dinner. Okay, I don't really care for the brunch, I'll be honest. But I know a lot of people go to brunch for their pastries, because by dinner time, they don't have it. But Kaluna, okay? And I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. It might be like Kahaluna or something. But it is so gorgeously designed, you guys. In Kaluna, I understand paying for a designer to come through and design your restaurant. Oh my God. It is, because part of the restaurant is inside. The other part, they have those big like California type of doors where it opens up the entire wall, and it's like a patio deck. And it kind of, I guess they're going for the look of being in Thailand or Laos, where there's like fans and everything. But it is so cutely designed, you guys. I would love to go and just live in Kaluna. But anyways, Kaluna, they always start off all meals with complimentary this jasmine tea with a shot of like pineapple juice in there or something. Something else is in there, okay? But it is so tasty, and it's a great palate cleanser. And then I really, really enjoy their massaman curry. Hands down, the best massaman curry I've ever had, you guys. And it is a brisket massaman curry with sweet potatoes. If y'all don't know, this girl does not like sweet potatoes, okay? Sweet potatoes taste like dirt to me. It's just all coming out. My freedom. My newfound freedom. All right. I'm telling you, sweet potatoes taste dirty to me. I don't know what it is. It's kind of like my whole mushroom thing. I don't like mushrooms. And mushrooms has this earthy dirt taste. Yeah, I don't like matcha either, okay? I don't care what your recipe is with matcha and you swear it tastes better than all other matchas. It always tastes like dirt to me. So, Kaluna, going back to that, they have this brisket massaman curry, and it's so clean tasting. I swear to God, they puree something in there, and they remove all of the oil that comes out from a curry, and then they probably put it in a bottle, and then they drizzle just a few drops of the oil on there. It is so clean tasting. And that sweet potato, it tastes like meat, okay? The hunk of brisket sits on top of the sweet potatoes. And when you cut into that sweet potato, like that is the only time I've ever been like, I will eat all the sweet potato. It was so good. And then I only have one complaint. Kaluna, if you're watching, please, dear God, quit serving your sticky rice on that parchment paper. Because your sticky rice, it sticks to the paper. So you can't get all your rice. And we're Hmong, okay? We're not wasting rice here. Literally, I have my fork and I'm trying to scrape off all the rice on that paper, okay? Like, you guys need to come up with a different plan. It's just not working out, okay? Put it on like some banana leaves or something. I know you guys have banana leaves because you guys serve your jerky on the banana leaf. I digress, okay? I will get off my high horse. And then I'm doing a potluck with my girlfriends as well for my birthday. All right, you guys, let's get to the nitty gritty here. I wanted to have a moment to really discuss with you guys, what do the levels really mean? And how do you know when you're ready for your next level, all right, as a shaman? So this past year, I've been spending a lot of time working with my students, and it's so nostalgic because it reminds me so many things that I've forgotten of me when I was a student and I knew nothing. Okay. I think because my view of things was probably so different from a lot of my students now, I would say. And what I mean by that is I literally only spoke Chinese for 8 to 9 months, you guys. 8 to 9 months. I was already on my 3rd shrine, you guys. And all I spoke was Chinese. My teacher hated it, man. She would be trying to teach me how to hoopli in Hmong at the door. And she would look at me and she would say it to me in Hmong. And my spirit guides would cover my ears. Like, you have no idea how stupid I would feel, because literally she would say it in Hmong to me and I'm looking at her. I have my gong, I have my horn, I am ready to hoopli, okay? And she would tell me line by line and my spirit guides would blank me out. It was like I wasn't there when she was saying the words. And so I would... So that I would just look away, because this is the 3rd time now I've asked her to repeat it. And you know what happens after the 3rd time? You get hit, okay? So I was like, I just look away and all this Chinese would come out. And my teacher just gave up. And I remember my teacher kept expressing to me, like, you need to speak Hmong when you ordain, because you are a Hmong. And one day when you go out and you go and do ceremonies for Hmong families, they can't understand you. They don't know what you're doing. And I remember 22-year-old Tassie said to her, Sifu, when am I ever going to go out and do ceremonies for Hmong people? Because, you know, I was literally, I did not have any plans to ever leave my house and tell anybody I was a shaman. Because, you know, like, I was 22 years old. I was doing this so I didn't die, okay? I wasn't doing this to go and help other Hmong families. That was never my goal. And look at me now, okay? But literally, and then she would stop and look at me, and then she would start laughing, and she was like, yeah, you're right. She was literally like, you're right. And I'm like, duh. So it doesn't matter if I speak Hmong or not. Because what she would do is, and I hated it back then, but I knew it was good for me. And then she would sit there and she would be like, well, what are your Huaning have you do? And then this is when I'm freaking out, because I don't know what you do, okay? I don't know. I never had anybody I could talk to. This is before I used to converse a lot with my best friend. I didn't have anybody, because it wasn't until after my 3rd shrine that me and my bestie became really close. So I remember I was like, so... Because even though I couldn't understand my spirit guides, they kept just speaking Chinese to me. And all they would do was, I had really good vision. I could see everything. And, but I couldn't understand what they were saying to me. However, over time, because I would tell them, you guys need to help me understand. They told me it's not about understanding what they're saying. It's about feeling it. Okay. So again, 8 to 9 months, all I spoke was Chinese, you guys. And I spoke it very well. But Hmong could not come to me to save my life. Okay. And literally what ended up happening though was, I never, like, if all you ever spoke Chinese, how did you get to your 3rd level, right? When I was onanging back then, I did not understand Nang the way I do now. Okay. Back then, remember, 22 Americanized girl, grew up in the suburbs. My only goal was not to die. And I thought, okay, because my spirit guides told me through my feeling, and when I'm not onanging, they will speak to me in Hmong, okay? But when I am in the spirit world, all I hear is Chinese. And all they ever told me was that my tunnel vision was on the third shrine. It was not on anything else. They didn't care for me to go leave the house and do services for people. They didn't care for me. Like, I didn't know what hoopli was. Like, I didn't know if I was doing it correctly. They didn't care. Okay. None of that mattered to them. All that mattered to them was that I got to my third shrine, and they kept luring me with promises. Okay. And it probably helped. Okay. It was for my own good, you guys. They just kept telling me, once I get to my third shrine, I'm free. I won't die early. So that was my only goal. Okay. I didn't care about anything else. I didn't even care if I knew how to shai or how to hoopli, how to read the chicken. None of that mattered. All I knew was that I needed to get to my third shrine. And so I had to oneng every single day. They kept handing me books. They kept handing me gifts. They kept handing me clothes. I kept going in the spirit world. I didn't care where I was. I just knew, where is my third shrine? So fast forward, right? Along the way, though, what happened was people kept coming to me. And I remember I used to turn people away all the time. And they were like, well, how are you going to know if you don't practice? Just practice on me, right? That was their trick too. And so literally, I remember my first shai, you guys. I had no idea if I could even shai, because not all shamans can. In case you didn't know that. I didn't know if I could. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do like what I think I'm supposed to do, but I also don't know what I'm doing. And I remember as I took the paper, and I'm shaking, you guys, and because it's an OG, it was always OGs who came to me. Okay. I remember I was shaking because I know they knew what shamans do when they shai. Okay. So I was like burning incense at my shrine, buying myself time, because I'm talking to my spirit guides this whole time, like, y'all better show up right now because I don't know what I'm doing. And I remember I opened up the piece of paper and because in case you guys did not know, I'm a shaman who can read joss papers. And so I was looking at it and I kept like shining it, like, because it gleams, and all of a sudden this information started coming to me and images started coming to me. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. And then I would work with my clients and I would chant at my shrine, and this chant would come out. And then as I was chanting, this overwhelming feeling would come to me. And that's exactly what shai is. But, I still didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have the confidence, right? So this is how I got over my confidence, in case you guys were wondering, right? Because I know sometimes shamans, when they're beginning and they know they're on their second level and they're supposed to take on clients, they start to struggle because they're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. How am I going to help somebody, right? For me, how I saw it was, it doesn't matter what the answer is. Because when I was younger, I used to worry about what was the answer, right? You as a human with no knowledge, you are never going to know the answer. And what ended up happening was, literally, I just threw caution to the wind and let my spirit guides do it. And they did. They showed up. So what happened was, I would just tell the clients only what I know. And what I know is what my spirit guides told me. And then that's when a lot of people were like, oh, you're really accurate. Because you know what? I bet you they had no faith either in me. And so that's how it all started. Once people found out that I could shai for people, more and more people started coming. And I did have a moment of lies where I thought, okay, I'm really good at shai. Maybe I can just shai and be a psychic for people. Don't be fooled, okay? It's a lie. Because what happens when you shai and you're good at it, okay? You're also really good at when people are ill. And when they're cursed. And when they have ghosts haunting them. So after they would come and see me, their hauntings would stop. Their illnesses would go away. And then what does that mean? That means I need to do the ceremony. I was not prepared for that part. So, a trick that shamans do when they don't want to do the ceremony for whatever reason. Maybe their hushas are all on vacation and they have nobody to watch them. Then they really can't do the ceremony. There's a death in the family, so they can't go out in one day, whatever reason. I kept trying to turn people away, and what ended up happening though was a lot of people were going to other shamans and other shamans couldn't see the same thing. And usually what shamans say is, if you already have a shaman who saw it, who saw the issue, and you got better, you need to go to that shaman. That shaman is the one who's destined or supposed to be the one who does your ceremony for you. So other shamans were starting to turn these people away. So now they were in this hard place of nobody is helping them now. Because you saw it and the other shamans, they've looked, they can't see the same thing. And so-and-so didn't get better. That means it must be you who does the ceremony. So that's what I mean by it's all a trap. But anyways, going back to what I was saying is that I think sometimes people worry about the wrong things. Like, if you are a shaman and you're raising and you expect to know everything before your third shrine, it will never happen. And that's why people stay on their shrines for years and years and years, okay? Is there anything wrong with that? No. However, you will never go to the next step of your spirituality without going there. And so for me, I never had those worries because I didn't think I would be that shaman that goes out and does ceremonies for people. I went into it not wanting to die, and I had to finish my 3 levels, and then I thought I was done. Like, that's all there is to shamanism. So my view on getting my shrines done was very different from others. Others, they have a lot of family influence who know shamanism, and there's a lot of politics that go into it. So then they start to see shamanism as something else, and then they start to question themselves that they're not good enough. However, I'll tell you this, I knew nothing, okay? I absolutely only spoke Chinese for 8 to 9 months. And what happened over time was I started to understand what they were saying. And it's funny because my spirit guides, they say this one line. They always say this one line. And people don't realize it. But that line is, how dare they come and ask us this? Are they stupid? But it's in Chinese, so you never know what they're saying. It's literally, they already know the answer. Why are they asking us this? But the way they say it and the disdain on them. But, usually that's for like questions that people already know the answer to, but they're looking for that reaffirmation, like as humans we do, because I do it all the time, so if you're ever wondering, what do I sugarcoat some of their lines. Oh, yes. But I will say this, you guys, after my 3rd shrine, that's actually when I upgraded. When you come into your true power, and when I say that even, that means it's coming into your own abilities, regardless of what someone else has, right? I get it. We're human. It's easy to compare. It's easy to wonder why you're not as skilled are you not dedicated enough? When you feel like you are dedicated enough, it is very easy to go into that mindset. But it is so important that you should just be happy for others, not compare and wonder when it will happen for you. Because when you're always looking at someone else instead of yourself, you're never going to grow, So that is just so important, you guys. And I know it's hard. Like, even though I say that, I know it's hard. Thank God back then I only had OGs as my peers. Because, the shamans weren't on social media like they are now. And my peers were all grandpas with multiple wives. And then on the other side were aunties who were all bickering with each other. So they were all like my parents' age. I didn't know any shamans who were my age who was still raising. Okay. I knew of a younger couple, but they were in their 30s when I was 22. And so to me, I felt like I couldn't connect to them because they had kids. They were like having a whole life. And then there was my girlfriend who wasn't married yet, so it was definitely very different experiences for me. So I guess it was good. But I will say this too, back then, a lot of the OGs who were my peers, they kept asking me, how did I know this? How did I hear voices? What do I do that I can see when I go into the spirit world? And it was very, I guess, because I was on the other shoe, you feel weird, like you feel like, and I think it's also hard because you don't want them to feel bad. But I would say that we know you can get there. Not when I say get there, not like seeing, okay? Because if you don't see when you go into the spirit world, it just means you will never see. And instead, what you need to be focusing on is your feeling. So don't just go into the spirit world every day and thinking it'll hit you with like a ton of bricks, okay? You need to do that inner work and really understand and start to feel it. Feel where are they taking you, okay? Even if you think it's a thought, and that's where a lot of people mess up. A thought will come and they'll brush it off. That's also what a lot of people do. Because you have that doubt. And that is 100% normal for everybody, you guys. You have that doubt and you doubt yourself so much. It's so much easier to believe in someone else. But it's you going through that experience, okay? But there's a lot of times where control comes into play. And when I say that, your control. Because, there's a lot of times where sometimes people feel like they're stuck and they just didn't know what to do. And, like it's one of those things where while you need to understand, are you not allowing your spirit guides to lead? Because I will say this, okay, I've never felt stuck, okay? Because I expect my spirit guides to do it. I expect them to lead, to take, or else I'm not doing anything, okay? Because then I didn't believe in it. Okay, those were my issues. So, and I truly believe that if your spirit guides don't like you doing something, I guarantee you, they will let you know. Whether it's a dream, whether you start to get sick, okay? I had somebody contact me on their shrine. Their incense sticks, one did not burn, or it fell over and it turned into this weird mass, right? And I literally saw their spirit guides were unhappy because they were doing something in front of their shrine and they were doing it wrong. So their spirit guides were not happy. That is their spirit guides trying to tell them. But these are simple signs, you guys. It's not going to be in your face. It's kind of like when I talk about, like oneng, when someone does a ceremony on you, it is slow and gentle. When it fully has immersed into your life, you're in too deep, kind of a thing, So people think that it's going to be like something slamming a door in their face. It's not that forceful, okay? Same thing with the signs from your spirit guides. Not everyone's spirit guides yell at them like mine, okay? Not all of them will appear in front of you and tell you to stop and cut it out and keep going. I need to tell y'all, okay, really quick, my tangent. I was at my shrine the other day and I was lazy. And I said to them this verse that I say, for them not to be afraid, I'm just going to change the shrine today. And then as I did it, I paused and I thought to myself, could I say this in English? And legit, my spirit guide said, go ahead and see what happens. And then I was like, you could have just said it nicely, like, no. And this is what I mean. Sometimes I swear my spirit guides, they got like attitude, or I don't know what it is. It's kind of like they're sarcastic, but I don't know how to prove it because it's in their responses. It's because like literally I was like, oh, I wonder if I could say this in English. And they literally said, Dachiwoma. which says, go ahead and do it. And then they paused. And then when I was like, maybe I should try it, then they were like, "Come on, bosa," which means then you'll learn. And then I went to the sink, and because I'm lazy, okay, because I have so many cups, okay. And usually every time what I do at the sink is I toss each bottle out. Okay, each bowl, I had to toss it one at a time. But I had these two bigger bowls. So I was like, could I just pour them all into one bowl and then just toss it out in one go? And then they said the same line. Dachiwoma. Which to me sounded like a threat. So I was like, never mind. I'm just going to stick to what I know. Okay, anyways. But again, you guys, what I was trying to say with all of this is that you need to have more faith in yourself. You know, like even when you consider your teacher, okay, I'm telling you guys over and over, I didn't know anything when I first started. When I finished all of my shrines, how did I learn things? You know, those books I was telling y'all? When I would try to read those books, when I saw the books, oftentimes the pages were blank. Other times, but it's a whole book, but the pages are blank. And the paper is so shiny, like it's alive. And even when I could see the letters, I couldn't read the letters, okay? And then I remember I was so frustrated, and they told me in a dream once. And then when I woke up, the knowledge hit me. Like, it takes time for that they're handing you knowledge, but it's kind of like, imagine I'm trying to explain to you how to purchase things at the store, but you've never done it before in your life. So no matter how many times I explain to you, well, you got to drive down the street and you got to find the store, and it has to be a very specific store. You need to go to the Hy-Vee in Egan. And there are multiple Hy-Vees, but the item you're looking for, it's only available at the Hy-Vee in Egan. Okay. So you may come across multiple Hy-Vees, but I already told you it's only at the Hy-Vee in Egan. So not only do you need to know how to get there on the roads, once you get there, you need to find it in which aisle. And then when you find the item, you need to go up to the register and pay for it. But you don't know how to pay for items. You don't know how to count cash. You don't know what a check card is and a bank account is, okay? But it is literally that simple, you guys. However, I'm handing you all these books on how to do it, okay? You got to read the manual. But you're trying to read the manual and you can't read the language it's in. So what do? Give up, okay? Just go through it and learn and struggle. So what I discovered as I was onenging, the knowledge just came to me. And no one told me this knowledge in advance, okay? My spirit guides do not tell me this knowledge in advance. Okay, they did. I just couldn't understand it because it was in Chinese. No one told me verbatim, this is how you this is how you go and chase the spirit, and how do you get it back? This is how you cleanse demons, and this is how you know you can fight them, and how you know you can't because you're going to lose. And like, the knowledge just came to me. I don't know how else to explain it. So, but here's the kicker. I would have never gotten all those books on how to do it had I not finished my shrine levels. And finishing your levels, there is this sense of freedom that comes to you that felt pretty much like when I had my freedom of being punished. This was a different kind of freedom. I felt like, like, they won't take my life early. So it was literally like this sense of freedom. And I learned so much by taking on clients. So I'm going to urge you, your first Shayai, your first ceremony, when you have no idea what you're doing, have faith in yourself and your spirit guides. And you need critical thinking, okay? Like, you need a lot of critical thinking as a shaman, because as you're practicing at home, your spirit guides are showing you what you need to do. Like, how do you connect? How do you understand when they're telling you, okay, and I want you to do this too, okay? As you're at one nanging, how do you know when you need your sword? How do you know when you need your tianeng? How do you know when you need to stand on the bench? And when do you dineng? Like, how do you know when to do those things, right? That is literally you practicing at home before you go and do an actual ceremony. You understanding the message from your spirit guides. And by the way, I know because they keep showing me the image of it. And also in my ngo, in my chants, they will say it in advance. So that's how I know. All right, you guys. I hope that this helped you guys just a little bit. Have faith in yourself. Until next time.